Cool. So we are live now.
Okay.
So thank you, Gauri, for joining. And let us do a quick sound check and video check for those who
Yeah.
have joined in. I'm going to just ask for all those who have dialed in and joined in, if you can hear us and see us clearly, if you can just type yes in the chat box before we proceed. I'll just give it 30 seconds for getting some responses from people before we proceed.
Sure.
All of you who have joined us today, can you please confirm whether you can see us, whether you can hear us clearly, audio, video is clear or not? Okay, I'm getting some yeses, so I think most of you can hear us. Perfect. Let's proceed ahead. Thank you so much for joining today, Gauri. Gauri, your video is on. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining in, Gauri, today. Great to have you here on the platform, and thank you for taking time out.
Thank you so much, Harsh. It's always amazing interacting with you. I'm sure this next few minutes are going to be fun as always. Thank you so much for
Yes.
inviting me.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. So, for all those who do not know Gauri, I'm going to just give a very brief introduction. She has a fairly amazing career journey, but I'm going to highlight some of the key points just for all of you who do not know her to be get to introduce. So, Gauri is a very senior HR leader. She is currently the HR head of India Factoring and Finance Solution. She's been sort of an industry leader in the field of HR and various functions within human resources. She has a double master's, which is quite interesting, in HR and psychology, and she's actually a computer engineer, which I find quite fascinating. Actually, how I'm very keen to understand how what led you from computer engineering to get into field of HR, but that's for another conversation. And she's a recipient of a lot of awards, which is not a surprise. She's an HR 140 leader. She's also a top HR mind recipient, and she is quite passionate about women empowerment and leads a lot of initiative in that front. So amazing career growth, amazing journey, and so great to have you here today. Sorry.
Thank you so much for amazing introduction. I'm
Oh,
feeling elated.
so so let's start off with something which is not mentioned here, right? Tell us something which nobody knows about you.
Okay, so I'll talk about my values, and
Sure.
that comes from my childhood. So my value is the most important value is respect for self and others, and that comes
Hmm.
from my mother. And it's an interesting episode that happened with me. So my mother always harped on this that you have to respect every human being, no matter what level they come from. So my father was a factory manager, and that's how I was like daughter of a factory manager. So kind of that
Hmm.
aura all the time in childhood. And my mom would guide me, tell me that you should not disrespect anyone, and she did it few times. And
Hmm.
then one day she found me doing something. I was around 10, 11. Found me talking rudely with one of my our helps at home. And
Hmm.
she then taught me in her own unique way. And I have never
Hmm.
forgot that. So since then, this has become one of my guiding principle. And any decision, any interaction, anything that I'm doing is purely based on this value. So this is something which is not mentioned but very important for me.
No, it's true, right? Some of the values are so core to us, and
Yeah.
the values define us who we are, and they really define every decision we make in life. So that is great to know those values from you. Thank you so much. So today, I mean, we're going to talk a very interesting topic, right, around leadership and resiliency. And I know there's enough going around in terms of people talking about resiliency, emotional intelligence, and so on and so forth. But first, I want to understand from you, what is that you are seeing, feeling on the ground, right, as you are interacting with your peer group, with business leaders. What is your current stock on the situation, especially at a leadership level? What's really happening?
Yeah, so I would bring in some data what's happening at macro level in the country, because that is actually summing up what's happening on the ground. So if you look at things, it's like at times it's going up. So this time PMI is lesser than last month. Still,
Hmm.
it's above 50, so there is some positivity there. The kind of shopping we have done as a country is amazing, 8.3 billion, which is 65% more than last year. And likewise, the numbers are going both ways. The contraction in GDP was also lesser than expected. So some positives, some challenges, and same thing is happening in and around us also. So leadership is thinking about what happens if there is another wave. Like especially in Mumbai, we keep hearing rumors. Recently, even the CM clarified that if you don't follow rules, we might go for second round of lockdown. In some states, they have gone for evening curfew. So, are we going to enter another lockdown? Is one thing which is in our mind. Second, how do we? So, there are three stages as we have heard in terms of COVID, which are correlated. I mean, it's not sequential. So, first was responding to the situation, which we all did beautifully. As a country, we did very well. As an organization, we did very well. Second was to recover and then to renew. So this is kind of recovery phase, but any mishaps on part of COVID, we will be back to responding phase. People have started going to work, but still the most important challenge remains safety. How do you ensure that more and more people are not impacted? And also as a responsible organization, what do you do so that your people are not impacted? And second challenge is at the home front. So many people don't have possibility to operate from office as yet. And in terms of engagement, also there are challenges. So balancing these things, safety requirements, requirements at home, somebody is having someone at home whom they need to take care of. You can't call them to office. There are compliances from government. Like Mumbai, we can operate only at 30% and engagement, which is now coming down. We heard about it about these things that productivity is going up, but now things are coming down, and we have to bring in a balance. So this is what leadership and organization, I'm sure, across the industry are thinking about.
Interesting. So you use the word responding, recovery, and renew, and I'm going to introduce the word re, which is resiliency, right?
Yeah.
So let me introduce resiliency also in that fold as another re word. What is your understanding of resiliency? What do you mean when you say somebody should be resilient?
For me, it's like life is full of ups and downs, full of challenges. Can you bounce back at least as stronger as you were earlier, or maybe even more stronger? We hear and we learn that uh, adversities bring in resilience and they make people stronger. But for me, it's like at least that much can you come back to? And there will be challenges. You will be losing some, you will be winning some. How do you bring back to your motivation that you keep on doing? So for example, you mentioned that I have won 3 awards. So I recently applied for another one. It was a prestigious award. I got shortlisted in the first round from 700 to 70. I reached that
Wow.
level, but a few days ago I got to know that I couldn't make the cut for the final 10 or 20 list. Now that was a setback, and I had to now think, what do I do? And this is not for the first time that it's happening. All of us, our life is full of ups and downs. So what do I do? Do I go ahead and decide that I would hang my boot? I would never apply for any other award, or do I decide that okay, there is some merit in the process, in the learning process? There is an interaction with a senior HR leader or a senior CEO, and do I go back and apply for those? And there is that spirit also that you are doing something which is adding value to your learning, your knowledge. So that is resilience for me. If I decide I'm going back and I am going back with renewed force, or at least that much force, I am resilient.
Interesting. So the ability to bounce back, ability to learn, and ability to prepare for the future. All this.
Yes.
So sort of encompassing way to define resiliency. Now, why is resiliency important at a leadership level? I know it's something which we all need to have, but what is the significance when you especially think at senior leadership? What is that you expect leaders to do or not do when you're talking about resiliency at that level?
So for me, definition of leadership is it starts from ourselves. We should know ourselves first. We should be having those qualities first. So it's like don't lead others unless you are leading yourself. So as a human being, we have to be resilient because in our lives there will be challenges, there will be opportunities, and we have to go across them. Similarly, in organization now, there cannot be a better example than COVID. 19, and all of us saw that those people who were not resilient in this moment, they were kind of, they just shut it off and they were away from all the discussions. They will be quiet in the discussion, and they were all the time thinking what's going to happen, and how they were not thinking that what can I do to bring in betterment in the situation. We all know it was not under our control, but there were certain things which we could do. Say, for
Hmm.
example, you were not doing this series earlier, right? And I know your history, how resilient you have been. So you were not doing it earlier, but you saw this opportunity and you are now doing something more, which is an amazing learning. We interacted, we started calling each other from LinkedIn. We are LinkedIn Connect, right? So
True.
if you as a leader are not able to show this example, how are you expecting your team to do it? Because as a
Hmm.
leader you have to walk the talk. Now you are someone who is not resilient. Any failure happens and you just go in the shell and you start blaming others, or you just start shouting on people, your team
Hmm.
is not going to improve and your situation is not going to improve. You are actually not a good leader if you are not resilient. And the way things have changed, that has become one of the top 5 competency today that we will be hiring for. The way COVID
Hmm.
19 has taught us that resilience is one of the most important things. So, first be resilient in your life, and then as a leader, you will be surely showing resilience.
That's interesting. So obviously, leadership starts from you. You have to role model for to be able for people to emulate the way you want them to behave. And as you say, when you go in an airline, you say you put your mask first, and then you really help others. So that's a great example. Now, what are some of the things leaders should do actually? Like let's say as a practice, as a behavior, as a habit, to build resiliency. What are some of your recommendations?
Yes, so building resilience, yes, it comes from both ways. So you can be resilient on your own. You will have some methods, like I would have my own ways to do it. As a leader, there are some proven techniques which really help. So, what is it all about? It's about failure and then bouncing back. What
Hmm.
can be better than giving that sense of security and telling them, I'm there for you? So, for
Hmm.
building in resilience, this is most important step that leaders must take. That responsibility for failure or accountability for failure is with them. But when it comes to recognition, it goes to the team. If the team
Hmm.
has that sense of security, they will not shy away from taking that extra step, going that extra mile and doing things for you. But if you tell them that it's your failure, you are unable to do it, in that situation team is not going to be resilient. They will be scared of taking any step without asking you, and
Hmm.
then the resilience would not set in. Second, wellness is critical, and COVID told us, taught us how important even mental health can be. So,
Hmm.
mental health, physical health, financial health, all the 8 type of wellness that we talk about, leaders have to take care of these things. And they
Hmm.
should not start the meeting just by talking about work. It should be, I've seen good leaders during these times talking first about how are you, how's your family, is there any challenge with you, and then coming to work. So it shows that humanity. And that is
Hmm.
what leaders must bring in. If there's someone in your team who is having hard time because of young kids, you allow them to operate at night. People have done this, and that's what will bring in resilience in the team, because you think there's someone who is backing you, there's someone who's taking care of you and taking responsibility, and then you respond accordingly. All of us are human and we would be responding. And the first assumption should be that everybody is responsible and they know what they are required to do and they will be giving their 100%. So I
Hmm.
think building that relationship, giving that, covering people up, and then giving them full support in terms of all kind of wellness would be key mantra for me for a leader to bring to build up resilience, and
Yeah,
also
yeah.
celebrating achievements. Yeah, that is also important when it comes to resilience.
And you started out with values, and I think somewhere it is linked to intent also, right? What if your intent is true and honest and genuine? It is
Yeah,
only then you can really connect authentically with people, and people see that, and people can see that, right? When
correct.
you're saying how are you just for the sake of saying, and when you're
Yeah,
asking how
that
are you and you really mean
authenticity.
it,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yes.
that because you started well, it's interesting.
Absolutely.
Now, what are some of the things not to do? Let's say, so we always talk about to-do list, right? Let's talk about what are a couple of things leaders should not do in
Yeah.
order to build resiliency.
Okay. So first thing would be don't lead, like I said, don't lead others unless you are leading yourself. If you do not
Hmm.
know what triggers you, how do you behave, then better not take this role and spoil the whole team. First,
Hmm.
understand what are your triggers, how do you come across as a person, because you are a leader. People look up to you, they are guided by you, and if you are not a role model, then there will be problems in the team. So like we discussed the example, if you put up accountability on the team when it comes to failures, then you are not doing the right thing. So don't do that. Give them your full support. That would be one thing. Second, don't have this attitude of I know it all, because I
Hmm.
know it all would stop all the creativity and all the thought process from your team, and from where the resilience will build up. They will think something, they will do something, and reflection. That reflection
Hmm.
would bring in learning. Many a times we say failure brings learning, but what brings learning actually is the reflection, when we look at things and we decide that, okay, this is what went wrong and this is what we have to do so that we don't do it mess up next time.
Hmm.
Reflection is most important. So know it all attitude should not be there. And like you rightly pointed, if you are not authentic, better not do it. And then
Hmm.
walking the talk is, if you are not doing that, then it's a challenge. So I read an interesting example recently. It was from a startup CEO. So they decided that they will have some criteria basis which they will be allocating cabins to people. And
Hmm.
it so happened that the promoter himself did not fit into that criteria. And to
Oh.
set a right
Okay.
example, he said, I will
Hmm.
be using a cubicle because I am not fitting in. So
Hmm.
that's how you have to walk the talk. If you're not doing that, your team is looking at it. And we say culture and we say values. Are they
Hmm.
only written in the handbook, or they are only pasted on the wall, or you are actually living by it? And again,
Hmm.
this crisis was an excellent example. You created an employer net score for yourself. So companies who treated employees well, they would be getting benefited for a very long time, and those who couldn't, they will have a challenge in terms of whenever the renew phase come and they have to go out and start hiring. And
Hmm.
finally, I would say, in terms of resilience, definitely we are discussing about. So one must be there, but one must also be ready to show vulnerability. If you don't do that, you look like a god. I don't need
Hmm.
help as a leader. It's not possible, because anybody and everybody needs help. Everybody is having setback. If you share your setbacks, your challenges, even small example that you had a challenge with your a kid at home, even that would show how authentic and how human you are, and that will build trust, that what happens in my life happens in his or her life as well. So that
Hmm.
vulnerability is also important. So if you don't show vulnerability, that connect, that trust would not build up.
Well, interesting. I think two things again going back to values and culture you mentioned, right? Values, culture is very intangible, right? And what people see
Yeah,
is behavior and actions, right? And if
correct.
your behavior and actions and words are not in line or in misalignment values and culture, then something's missing, right? Something that is, and then the
Absolutely.
interesting part is around vulnerability. I always believe that when you sort of expose yourself and people don't harm you, don't hurt you, that is where the real trust is getting created.
Correct.
And when you ask for help, you'll be surprised how many people out there are actually ready to help you,
Actually
right?
ready to help. Yeah, we
That
always
is
think who would help me, or I would. People will look at me down that she doesn't have this, even this thing. But when you go out and tell them, it's really nice that how they come out and they support you.
true, true. What is your personal mantra for building your own resiliency? What do you do, right? Are there certain practices you follow as an individual?
So I have seen lot many setbacks when I moved from. So I started studying in a village. In my primary education, I started studying English in standard six, and then till
Hmm.
10th standard it was Hindi medium. So when I went to engineering college, it was a challenge. huge challenge for me, because this institute, it was top institute in Madhya Pradesh, and they had people from across the world. So English
Hmm.
was order of the day, and I was not able to manage it. And likewise, there were many more challenges. All of us, life is full of them. So now,
Hmm.
how do you do it? So for me, there are certain things, like I cited an example that I couldn't make it in the final list recently. So first thing I would do is I would give time to it. If there are
Hmm.
emotions, I will allow them to come out. I would be fully, so it would be fully focused. Sometimes I do expressive writing also, wherein I
Oh,
put in
nice.
my thoughts, whatever is coming to my mind, that what went wrong, I am feeling bad. So first thing is to deal with emotions. And for
Hmm.
me, emotional intelligence is not about repressing your emotions. For me, it's about handling them well, managing them well. So if I'm not feeling well, I would allow, even if it is kind of crying, I would do that. So that is
Hmm.
first part. Once it is done, then reflection. What I could have done better, what went wrong, and then if there is a feedback available, I will definitely go out to the other person and check if it is possible. But we
Hmm.
know many a times in such situations it would not be. So that is another thing which I would do. And then I would go towards self compassion, which is
Hmm.
about three things. Number one, I would think that I am friends to myself. And if it was
Hmm.
my friend, then I would be not talking harshly in such a
Hmm.
situation. We would always say, ye hota hai, life mein to ye sab hoga hi. So why not me? So that is one important element. Second would be, I will think that okay, if there was 70 and 20 were to be selected, 50 more people were like me, who were better than me, but they couldn't make the cut as well. So it's not only me, it's everybody. And then
Hmm.
mindfulness, what's happening currently. So all three components of self compassion is what I rely on. And finally, I would go for meditation. Meditation has helped me hugely. I mean, it's a huge benefit when it comes to anybody doing it mindfully. It's not just you
Hmm.
are sitting and then you are focusing on other thoughts. It's a negative thought, because whatever has happened, and you can't look into future also. Be here, be in now, and that would really help. So these
Hmm.
are the four things which I generally do when I meet with a setback.
No, very interesting. I think you mentioned about emotions, and I think acceptance and awareness is the key, right? You accept whatever you're feeling.
Yeah,
There's no right or wrong, no judgment, nothing. You accept how
correct.
you're feeling. You be aware of that, and I think that awareness creates choices on how you want to deal with them.
Absolutely.
That's an interesting. The other thing you also mentioned about compassion, and I really feel that when it comes to compassion or forgiveness or grace, we are very kind to others, but
Yes.
we are not kind to ourselves. So we don't show enough grace to ourselves, we don't forgive ourselves, we don't show enough compassion to
Yeah.
ourselves, and we just too harsh on ourselves. And that's a great
Yeah.
point, really, right?
It comes
Eh,
from society also. I mean, only success is respected, right? Any failure,
hmm,
nobody talks about failure. And we are always taught, compared.
hmm,
अरे वो बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है, उसका बेटा बड़ा अच्छा कर रहा है. What are you doing in
true,
life? So
true.
that also it doesn't. But maybe slowly, as people are understanding importance of self compassion, importance of understanding that everybody has a different starting line, different journey, finishing line also cannot be same, so let's not compare. I think with these things, situation should improve.
No, definitely. And I also mentioned around mindfulness, meditation. And I always believe, I mean, there is a traditional definition of meditation, right? You're doing something, or you're. I also sometimes believe that you could be just doing something which you really
Yeah,
like, and you're in the zone, right? Like a
correct.
player, like a player who's playing a sport, or an author writing a book, or a painter painting. That is also a form of meditation, right? You're
Yeah,
so involved in something, you're fully in the zone. You're not caring about anything else happening around. Like I sometimes write in the morning, and at that point I'm fully in that zone when I'm writing. I spend over
okay,
an hour every day in the morning to write, and I like that. And for me, that is my meditation time. I don't have to actually engage in a different practice, because that's
okay.
what I like. Right.
Yeah,
Very
whole day
interesting.
we can do it. I mean, anything we are doing, if we are focusing on now, that becomes a
Correct.
meditation. There is no,
Exactly.
absolutely, you put it very nicely, that it's not required to have a separate time for it also. You can do
True.
it any moment.
True. True. Now, what have you learned? And this is a question I've been asking a lot of people, like, what have you learned about yourself this year which you did not know before?
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of things, but if I have to choose one, it would be learning agility. Be it at home, right from dishing out that chola bhatura to kachori to all of it, I had never done it in my life, and there was demand from my daughter, and I had to do it somehow. So that was at personal friend, then adjusting with things, what's happening with her studies, and then taking care of full household. So definitely, family is a excellent support, and they did their bit. But as a uh, primary caring member, the responsibility lies on the women. We know this is the, fact of life, at least in India. So that was one thing, juggling with all these things, and at the same time, HR played an important role, which is acknowledged now in this crisis. So what's happening in office, what's happening at home, and we are in Navi Mumbai, and there was at times we didn't even have bread at home, or small things that are required. So I'm sure you would understand because you come from northern region. So that Loki and Kaddu was what was available in abundance, and that is what we continued to eat because as a family we decided nobody is going to stand in the queue. It was March, April, and it's bad summer in Mumbai. So nobody will be in queue, and whatever we get, we are going to just go ahead with it. And before that, there was so much kind of nakhra that I don't eat this, I would not do that. So that was a learning agility, a learning curve that from being a receiver, you can become a producer and you can really do it on professional front at in office. The way I generally take a decision is very kind of democratic. I'll be going to everybody, checking with them, and it has a lot of advantages when it comes to HR policies and lot many other things because you already have their buy-in, and when you have the buy-in they will follow because it's their own. But this time there was no time to take any buy-in, you, and at times I had to clearly say no, that this doesn't fit well into the philosophy that we are working with currently, and this cannot be approved. So that was a sea change for me, and I was really surprised that I could do it being an autocratic leader, but situation demanded. So again, this when you do something and you reflect on it, you realize that okay, it is possible for me to do this as well. And similarly, like we were discussing right before this chat, that I started doing few more things which are kind of social in nature, supporting others, supporting students, women empowerment, and lot many other things. I had never thought I can do these things. So for me, learning agility is knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. I'll repeat, knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. So that was the situation, and I'm sure many of us would have had similar experiences. But for me, this was eye opener that there is huge potential which was getting wasted or not unleashed, and I could do it in these times.
No, I think there is a silver lining, and I think uh, almost everybody will come out much stronger from this. That's a
Yes.
great thing, right? And I think cool. Finally, just I know we're almost at half an hour mark. Any final sort of as you prepare for 2021, year is coming to an end. Any one tip for people who are listening? Anything you want them to do or not do? Just one thing which you think would be helpful.
Okay, so yeah, I think it's not going to end at least for first 6 months. We are hearing about vaccine and we are hearing about lot many other stuff, but things are, and it would never be normal, right? We know it would be a hybrid model now. So one thing which I would suggest is going digital. And when it comes to digital, it's not about learning how Amazon works or how LinkedIn works, but having a digital mindset, which is again kind of having agility. So anything that you come across, just accept it and then try to make those changes because skills are going to change. For example, even for me as HR 5 years ago, I had not thought that design thinking would become an important element when it comes to HR. But today I know design thinking plays an important role, rather critical role when it comes to designing anything, any policies which are for people. I did my certification 3 weeks ago. So this is something which we need to really do and skills would change. Whatever we were doing in 2017 would no longer be valid in 21. It's going to be a
Hmm.
digital era. A lot many things I'm seeing in my organization all across. And all of us,
Hmm.
like we discussed in beginning, $8.3 billion is what went on e-buying. So now,
Hmm.
if I have that experience of e-buying, I'm not going to waste my time going to a mall and buying something. So we are
Hmm.
going to be more digital and digital in nature, and COVID definitely accelerated this change. So we need to
Hmm.
be ready with this change, and the only solution to it, according to me, is having that learning agility and that mindset that you can learn everything and anything, and it's
Hmm.
not about what comes your way. Whatever you will be able to manage it. And second, networking. Networking has played an important role in the whole crisis, be it understanding what's happening in other organizations, be it understanding about best practices, or even just sharing your thoughts. Networking has really
Hmm.
gone very well and become very important. So I would, suggest that everybody should focus on these two things.
So digital agility and networking, there's a great thing. I think digital awareness, acceptance,
Yeah,
and as you rightly said, these times have actually accelerated that learning curve for a lot of
correct.
organizations also, right? Not just individuals, right?
Organizations also.
And I
Yes,
think it's somehow we have to stay on top of that curve.
correct.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gauri, for your insight. Very useful, very helpful. I hope everybody who's tuned in found the conversation useful. I'm going to quickly open up for any questions people have. You can type in your questions in the chat box if you have for me or Gauri, and we'll be happy to answer them. Meantime, Gauri, anything you want to know more, anything you want to share further, anything you want to ask me, more than happy. But let's wait for some questions if there are any from people who have dialed in.
Sure.
So, what are your plans for the weekend while we wait for people to chat?
Yeah, so some sessions I'm supporting students. So that's one thing which I'm doing actively these days. And
Hmm.
then some downtime.
And any plans for the year end as the year
No, so
closes?
yeah, we are not planning to travel this year and go
Hmm.
out, yeah, because of these situations. How about you? How's
No,
Bangalore?
so far, no Bangalore. I think we are going to stay put. Yeah, we're not going to travel anywhere. My elder son's pre-boards have started now, so I think they'll
Okay,
last till pre-December, and the vacation dates are still not confirmed when the schools will close as yet.
okay.
Yeah. Perfect. I don't see any specific question, so we can call it a day. Thank you so much, Gauri, for sharing your insights. Very useful, and hope to see you around. And thank you all who have joined in today. Thank you so much for taking time off, and have a great day, great weekend. Stay safe, stay indoors as much as possible. Thank you and take care.
Thanks, Ash. It was
Thank you.
interesting interacting with you. Thank you. Thanks
Bye
everyone
bye.
who joined.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.